Alright, hey, I'm Chris Woltereck, and I'm going to go over the Deckbuilder's Toolkit today. Let's see here. It's got Jace on the side, that's pretty nice. Oh, that's good, you got a reusable card box now. Let's see, 2010 Zendikar World Weight Complex, probably a land pack. Let's see. Alright, one land pack, probably two land packs. Get a lot of lands to build whatever deck combination you need, or more than one deck probably. About 100 or so. Oh, some spells. Alright, well the first thing I always do when I'm building a seal deck is I break stuff down by color. And then from that I can actually kind of make a quick glance of what is the more powerful colors, what are the things that are the most important. Most of the time I always look at removal to see what it is, because you're always going to need to remove a threat of some sort. And let's see. Evan is going to be building a similar deck and we're going to play, and he's going to have spells that are going to be needed to be removed. So, and that's typical in all seal decks. You always want to have ways to remove creatures, because almost all the games are won by creatures. And if someone plays a Baneslayer Angel, you're going to need to deal with it. See if anything stands out right off the bat. Most of the time in a sealed deck, artifacts are really, really good to get. Most of the time, if you get a good artifact, you should be happy with it, because you're going to be able to play that in almost any deck that you play. There's a couple stipulations, but we got 2 removal spells so far. And there's this figure as well. So at least some amount of creatures are going to be able to. Let's see. Okay, Obsidian Fireheart. That's a rare. It's going to be kind of cool because you get each pack from a variety of sets too. So limited cards that go together actually don't necessarily always go together. You might not necessarily play them in a limited format. And then you get a little taste of everything, so you can build decks. Anything that you kind of like here's Ball Lightning. Depending on what's in there, maybe you can get a pretty good aggressive deck going. There's a Shambling Remains as well. Heat Ray, there's another removal spell. Right now, red's looking pretty good. Got a Boar. It's a red creature with evasion. That's kind of rare, so it's kind of nice. We got 2 Lightning Bolts. All right, so that's going in the right direction. We got another Disfigure, a Doomblade. Okay, there's a couple 2s and duplicates in these, so it's pretty nice actually. Most of the time, whenever you're building a deck, the number of 4 is very important. It's just because if you want to play a deck, you don't want to play less than 4 Lightning Bolts. You want to play 4 because you want to draw that card as much as possible. Recently, that's kind of changed. That rule is now more of a guideline, really. Not necessarily having to do that now. Okay, there is a lot of black and red removal here, a ton of it. Okay, well, not a lot of multicolored cards. We have a Shambling Remains and an Outrider. So, actually, by looking at these two stacks, if I am going to have any gold cards, it's probably good that they're black and red. Okay, let's see what artifacts we have to work with here too. Most of the time when I'm building stuff that I know I'm just never going to play, I just pitch off to the side, like something like Demon's Horn. I mean, it might, if Evan happens to have a mono black deck, I might actually bring it in because it would be an aggressive vampire-based strategy, but it's not going to be in the main deck. All these artifacts don't seem pretty unimpressive. There's a Kite Sail, which gives a creature evasion, so it'll get flying. So maybe some of my creatures can get there with the flying. Ooh, that's actually really nice. Most don't normally get the luxury of this, but Terramorphic Expanse, you're going to be able to fix your mana really early. And we have 4, so there's 4. Here's a black-red dual land. Celestial Colonnade. This is a great blue-white card. It's played in Constructed, as is Halimar Depths. It's not good. Rupture Spires is nice mana fixing. Okay. Well, I just can't wait to get at the red cards, so I'm just going to look at the red cards first. Pyromancer, Prodigal Sorcerer for red, and the Dragon Whelp. Goblin Artillery. This card is probably always underrated, but it's actually an amazing creature. It's reusable with creature removal. So you take 3 damage, but you can kill a creature, and that goes a really long way. 4 damage to target creature, creature removal. I'm just going to lay it out. I normally do spells and creatures, and depending on the type of deck I'm building, like if I'm more aggressive, I have more creatures. If I'm more controlling, I have a lot more spells. And here's the lightning bolts. All right. Heat Ray, 2 Dragon Whelps. Another Burst Lightning. Basically anything in this pile so far is things that deal damage to creatures or a flying dragon. Evasion creature. Ball Lightning is good, but I think it would only be in a mono red. The ally strategy is probably not coming into play. Never really like cards like Lightning Elemental. It's good if you can remove things and then hit them for 4. So basically, you have to clear the way for things with 1 toughness. They're also really vulnerable overall, but there's might be enough removal to maybe consider these guys. Basically, for 4 mana, I can either have a 4/1 haste, or I can get the 3/3 for 4, pretty much a hill giant. And this is just an average creature. And then from there, they kind of go different directions. Same cost, but more powerful, very vulnerable. Rune Blaster is going to construct it. I don't know if it'll probably actually make the cut. It's a haste creature anyway, and if his lands are looking anything like mine, then this is probably going to work out pretty well. Take a look at the green cards. We have 4 damage to a flying creature. each aura on the battlefield, good creature, but aura. So if you're going to build a deck with auras, then it's got to be more focused, and I don't think right now I can focus it. Same with for each forest I control. It makes me have to be really, really green. 2, 3 for 3. Giant Spider, that's a great card. Token form. Rhino, Rampant Growth, Land Whirl, Riverboa, Overrun. Well, there's a Hera, there's a Rampant Growth, and there's 2 Llanowar Elves, as far as an Arbor Elf. So that's kind of like mana acceleration if I wanted to go that route. Overrun is an excellent card. This is just ends the game. Mainly you want to just check when your opponent's tapped out is the ideal time to cast it. If you're going for an exact number, you always need to count before you attack if you're going to play a spell like this. See what the maximum damage they can soak up with their blockers. But you could probably finish it off if they're really low with if you're an aggressive green-red. I don't think green is going to be a way to go. There's Overrun, there's the mana is there, but there's just no huge creatures. Like he's a 5/6, but for that much, there's nothing really I'm excited about getting out of green. So for now, I'll pass on the green. Look at the white. Let's see, we got 2 Sarah Angels. Flying is similar to Dragon Whelp. It's a lot better than Dragon Whelp, really. Harm's Way. This is, let me use this to save a creature. I wish, if I had a lot more of Harm's Way, I would consider that. Flying creature, exile for 5. Another flyer. Alright, 2 pacifisms. Basically, enchant creature can't attack or block. It's just all about removal. You need to stop their threats. Blinding Mage is a very good card. It's similar to pacifism in a way, but there is an upkeep cost, and of course it's vulnerable to creature removal. More creature removal than there is enchantment removal. But as their threats change, Blinding Mage can just go on to the next threat. So if they play a 5/5, I'm dealing with the 5/5 with my Blinding Mage, but then if I can deal with the 5/5 later and then have a difficulty with, say, a Sarah Angel, the Mage is much better than the pacifism is there. 2 pacifisms, Harm's Way. White's got a lot of good creatures, or flyers. Just, it's not quite doing enough for me right now. Okay. Let's go with the black cards next because I saw some Doom Blades. Well, we have, right off the bat, some great cards. We have Nighthawk, Flying Death Toad, and Gatekeeper. So we've got 2 good vampires. I don't know if that theme will work out that well yet. Mind Sludge. Arrogant Bloodlord. Vampire's great. Well, here's one. Feast of the Blood. It destroys a creature and I gain 4 life, but I can only play it if I have 2 or more vampires. Well, so far I have 3 good ones. Lacerator is good if I can go really aggressive. Consume Spirit. Oh, there's a lot of vampires here. Tendrils, a Doomblade, a Hideous End. Interesting. Rise from the Grave. Disfigure. Actually, Duress is probably going to be good here. Wow. Well, black seems really good right off the bat, too. About 25 pretty good cards there. Alright. Red I could probably fill out a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16. So definitely black is the deepest, and still get to look at blue. So take a look at blue really quick here. Well, you have 2 mind controls. It's basically, you get their guy. Take their Sarah Angels. It's definitely a great pacifism. Sleep is an excellent card. You can play it in a variety of different decks. Just tap all creatures target player controls. Those creatures don't untap during that player's next untap step. So basically what you can do is you can make tap all their creatures and then attack them for as much power as you have on the board. Then you don't have to worry about them attacking you back either. So if you want to just get in a bunch of damage there, you can. You can also do it that way, and then the following turn, their creatures don't untap, so they're tapped again for another swing. So basically, unless they play a blocker or another removal spell, you can hit them twice, and it's very, very, very powerful. Basically, Air Elemental, Sarah Angel, that doesn't have vigilance. Into the Royal. Let's see what we're looking at overall here. There's definitely a lot of counter spells here. Flyers, let's see. Ice Cage removal, Essence Scatter. Merfolk Leader. Unsummon, Essence Scatter. Snapping Drake. Divination. 2 cancels. Another Ice Cage. That's pretty powerful overall. We got some mind controls, some cancels, Essence Scatter. So right now there's at least 4 counter spells. There's a Summoner's Bane there as well. There's definitely a lot of really good cards here as well. So definitely going to have to be playing 2 colors, and right now the black seems awesome. So based on everything, I know I'm definitely going to build black now. So I'm going to lay out all the black cards and then kind of see what we're looking at there. And then the second color is going to be the color that brings everything together, that kind of adds on to the black spells where it's missing. Like black creatures right now, it didn't seem like we had a bunch of really big creatures, so we might add something in the form of large flyers or maybe some counters. So let's see. Right now I'm going to try with a really aggressive build and see where we go from there, because we have a Cold Blade, and we have a Disfigure, a Lacerator, 2 Childer Knights. So right now we're 2 power, 2 mana, 2 power, 1 mana, cheap removal, and Doom Blade. Sign in Blood. If my guys are going to run pretty light, I'm going to need to refill my hand. It's pretty mana intensive, but it's very good, especially if we're looking at almost a mono black build here. Another Disfigure. Marsh Casualties. Basically, it gets creatures. Target player controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. So right now that kills 3 of my creatures as well, but you can kick it and they get -2/-2, but it's just theirs. You don't necessarily always have to kill all their creatures, but you can make a favorable combat attack as well. So he could be playing a green-based strategy with Llanowar Elves and small creatures, so that could definitely come into play there. My spells are really, really good, so I'm going to play Dress. I assume that it's going to come up pretty. He's going to have some amazing spells I'm going to need to get rid of. Dress is just a great card in Constructed anyway. It's not necessarily the best limited card, but you're starting to build your own deck here. Right now, if I had I'm seeing like a red-black vampires but we'll see how it goes. The mind controls in the blue are very, very good. More Sign and Bloods. Gatekeeper, Nighthawk. Well, we'll see if we can get close to black, because Mind Sludge and Tendrils are all really good. That's if I cast a Mind Sludge and he has some card that's going to come close to ending the game. Okay. Gravedigger. Rise from the Grave. Last Kiss. Hideous End. Vampire Aristocrat. The Bloodlord. This quest for the Gravelord is pretty interesting here. I'm pretty aggressive and I have a lot of removal, and as long as trading as well, so I could probably get a 5/5 for 1 black here actually. You know, late game is not necessarily the best thing you want to draw, but if you draw it early and play it on turn 1, it's going to put some pressure, because you can curve out with a quest, then a child, and then another creature, or kill your guy. Seems really good. The other thing to know about these is, as well, is you can actually keep the quest counters on him until it's needed, and then you can bring him into play. So you can bring him into play as a blocker if he might mess something up, or you can actually just protect him in a way. Drag down is creature removal, but it's not. It's for each land type I control, so at the very least it's going to be -2/-2, and I get that for 1 mana with this figure anyway, so it's going to get cut. Consume Spirit. Alright, how many vampires? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 vampires. That's not necessarily enough for this, I don't think. We have Bloodseeker. And another Bloodseeker. So going up to 11. I don't think Bloodseeker is very good right now, and especially because there's not enough. The vampires are good, but they don't do anything. There's no Vampire Nocturnus type effect where all my vampires are better for being vampires. Urge Defeat is going to be good though. Target creature gets -3/-3. You can tap any number of vampire creatures you control. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each of them. So I can make these guys grow a little bit, but it's good on its own. It's essentially -3/-3 instant spell, so another removal. Lots of removal. Gloom Hunter is an evasion creature, so we're going to have to get up here. Lumen Shade. Playing close to mono black. I feel like I can kill almost anything that comes in my way. He could have gotten something that couldn't be targeted, like a Sphinx of Jawar Isle, but I could kill everything, and I have a Gatekeeper, so that's a sacrifice effect. Also have a Nighthawk, so that's pretty good. Pretty much whatever he's going to be able to throw at me, I'm going to be able to deal with. I feel like I'm kind of light on the creature department here. Okay. Alright, looking at the red cards, we have some pretty decent red creatures, but they're not really there in quantity. that I would have liked. Um, And a couple of them that are good, like Dragon Whelp, are pretty red intensive here. And though I could have a couple of mountains out, it's not going to be to its full effect. So let's see how many black cards I'm really happy with right now, and see how many I'm going to need to fill here. So 28. So that's actually pretty close. I'm probably going to want to play about 23 lands, 24 lands I'm thinking. Let's see. Get the Outlander in here. If he turns out to be plain white, it's going to be pretty good. Another bear is good as well. With the 4 Terramorphic Expanse and the Refuge, I feel like I'm going to search out one mountain with the expansions, and then that's it. Let's see, a Rune Blaster. We'll put it in the Forecaster too. That's double red, but I think it's powerful enough to go with. And the Lightning Bolts. Just pull over to the Lightning Bolts. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm just drawn to it in a Burst Lightning. It seems like I could, so much creature removal, any creature should probably suffice. Right now I'm looking at not a lot of evasion creatures. I have a Nighthawk, a Gloom Hunter, and that's really about it. Nothing else is evasion other than the fact that it's really large, or it's bigger than the creature they have on the board because I've destroyed it. Rise from the Grave is actually going to be really good in my deck because I'm going to be able to, anything I'm going to be able to kill, I'm going to be able to bring back. So many different ways. Dark Temper is another removal spell. If I have a black permanent, destroys it. Otherwise it deals 2 damage. I have lots of black creatures. Let's see. Well, $18 spells. It's actually a lot more than I would have really wanted, but I can't complain with spells like this though. So any creature is just going to need to get there. Probably don't have room for any other spells, so this Dark Temper is probably not going to make the cut. Spells are very efficient, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Does exactly what I want them to do. Kills creatures. I can pick up some extra cards with a Sign in Blood, Gravedigger, Mind Sludge, a little bit of flashback on the Shambling Remains, and a Rune Blaster, so I can generate some amount of card advantage. The more I look at it though, I feel like this might actually be the deck I want to play Lightning Elemental in. It hits hard, it hits right away, and they can keep all their creatures off the board, and it's reusable. Everything else is kind of smaller, so I'm going to have a little bit of issue with larger creatures. But I do have 2 Doom Blades and a Hideous End. So as long as he's not a big green deck, probably be pretty good here. Wish I had a couple better creatures. If I could add some more cards, I would add a little bit more. I would probably try to round out my cards. I would want more Nighthawks, and I would want more Gatekeepers, and probably want to get on Nocturnus or something. The Doom Blades are good. Probably make I would want to try to build the best Red-Black Vampire card, and I already have a Red-Black Vampire deck, and I already have a lot of the cards for the deck with the Lacerators. The Pyromancer might turn out to be pretty good here. I think the Artillery might be good enough for the double red as well, and it's a creature. I don't want to dilute the black too much, but I think we'll be okay. The Refuge that we have up here is not a swamp either, so lots of creatures, lots of spells. 18 spells, and then $19 creatures. So that's 37 cards. So that's 23 lands. I think it would probably skimp down to 23. 24 is nice as well, but there's so much cheap stuff I'm probably going to recover out. And after a while, I don't want to draw anymore. The Consume Spirit is really good. Mind Sludge, Tendrils, but this might be the way we want to go here. I really want to play the Artillery. It might be better than the Rune Blaster, but he's got haste as well, so he's... A good thing about sideboarding is too, I can change up a couple cards, so I can definitely add a little bit more if I'd like. Flame Slash deals 4 to a creature, so I might be able to upgrade some of my removal to suit what he has. The red is really good. Red's going to add us 9 cards. So, the red is good. I know at least 2 blue cards that are awesome. So, but red's basically our creature base. So, if blue can suffice a good creature base, I don't know. Merfolk Looter is better than the Outlander, at least. We have nothing's going to replace the Lightning Bolts. We will have counter spells. Divination, it's 1 blue. Draw more cards. I already have Sign and Blood though. The Sleep, Mind Control, Mind Control. You can count these as creatures. They would be 5 casting cost creatures. So if we wanted to play this, we could. With a Looter and a Sleep. Aerial Elemental. Actually, I wish I had more negates than I had cancels and essence scatters. Another Divination. Went over these earlier. Well, the Strix is good too. If you control black permanent, it drains them for 2. So it looks like I actually can probably get a lot better creatures. It really hurts to go away from this and my 2 gold cards, but blue's probably the best. I can find cards that I'm happy with, so we're going to cut the blues. Or cut the red for the blue. Keep that there just in case. So we have mind controls. We'll go ahead and count these as creatures for the time being. Merfolk Leader, that'll help. Paradise Strix, it's way better than Gloom Hunter. This is a 2/1 flyer. This is a 2/2 flyer, and then this also drains for 2. Air Elemental, so we now have a bigger evasion guy. With these creatures, I'm going to consider Sleep and probably take it out. It's probably better than some of the other cards. We have Mind Sludge, Consume, and now we're looking at a build with potentially more islands, but definitely a lot of swamps. Keep that there. We have a 2/2 flyer for 3, a 3/2 for 4. We have the Unblockable guy. We have Lemon Tsunami, 4/4 that returns a land. That could be pretty powerful as well. Just looking for creatures right now. Seagate Oracle is not bad. It's a little not what we're necessarily looking for in a creature, but it does have a toughness. From on the draw, it can kind of defend. We got 35 cards here. Now that I have a little bit heavier cost here, I'm going to look at 24 lands now. So I can add another card and potentially cut one of the cards. Consume Spirit, Mind Sludge. But, pretty great. All these cards are so much fun to play with. We have little vampires, we have big elementals. This is definitely a great deck. I'm excited to play it. I just want to put in the cards that are most fun to play with at this point. Gonna need a couple more creatures though, I think. Lemon Tsunami, it's double blue early on. It could potentially be good with the Halimar Depths, but I feel like we might be looking for them in a different way. Pick up the islands with the Terramorphic Experiences. Phantom Warrior, the problem is they are very aggressive, and on turn 3 or 4 to have 2 blue might, it's not necessarily the direction I'm going with. Good point is I can actually bring in the counter spells if he's more green, and I got 4 really good counter spells here, so I can change my deck up to a counter based deck if necessary. Another counter spell, and we have some divinations. Well, I'm going to go ahead and play Lemon Tsunami, and then that'll give me a lot of flyers now that can kind of pick up if my ground creatures take off. I can very potentially get the Halimar Depths going, and should be pretty good. Also, I can pick them back up and discard them to the looter later on as well. It looks like he doesn't quite work out, we'll change him up, but I don't necessarily want to put him out on turn 4. He's kind of like another air elemental. So I'm going to give one last check here. 3, 36, okay. So I have 4 Terramorphic Expanses, which will definitely fix my mana great. So I have these. We also have a Halimar Depths, and we have a Rupture Spire. I like Rupture Spire for its ability to fix. Comes into play tapped and at the second unless I pay 1, but it does fix. The problem is it's not as good with Tendrils and Mind Sludge. I might give it a shot, but I think the Halimar Depths might just be better. If I'm going to play, I don't want to play both of these because they come into play tapped, and I really am going to. I'm focusing on a nice curve here, and I already have the Expanses that the land comes into play tapped. Since I feel like the mana fixing with the Expanses are going to be good enough, so I'm actually not going to play the Rupture Spire. You can definitely play mana fixing like Rupture Spire, and there's nothing wrong with that. But okay, definitely more black cards than blue. And we're looking at 24 lands now. We're looking at 20 lands with the 4 Expanses. Probably 6 islands, which gives me 10 islands. About 10% of my deck is going to be that. I'm going to need double. Let's see. Right now I have 14 swamps. Kind of want that early. Just cards like Mind Sludge and Tendrils are so good that I'm going to want to focus on that a lot. Also have Sun and Blood. And Gatekeeper is actually triple black if you have to kick them. But the double blue is going to be pretty important, so I think I'm going to cut the swamp. I'm going to add the Halimar Depths. Okay, well, we just have to look at some sideboard cards and go from there. I'm going to want my counter spells. A Wall of Ice is going to be a good defender. An Unsummon. Ice Cages into the Royal. It's a card draw. I could also switch up to red pretty easily if I wanted to as well, but I think that's a pretty good deck. All right. All right, 60 cards. Good to go.